I remember the day I was working as a field guide at that point. We just got a call in from one of the local field guides and saying, okay, please stay away from a certain area. And later on in the field, spoke to him and he informed me that the worst had happened.
Getting the phone call, I can remember clearly being in Port Elizabeth and they said they've been shot. I wasn't on the reserve when it happened. And we raced through to go and find out what happened. We were patrolling the roads until 1 o'clock in the night. We were making roadblocks. We were doing everything in our power. They were long gone.
Scotia is the oldest private game reserve in the Eastern Cape of South Africa, offering visitors the chance to see Africa's most famous creatures roaming free across 70 square kilometres of natural land. Home to white rhino, a species on the brink of extinction, and Bonnie and Clyde, the pride of Scotia.
Yeah, Bonnie was such a sweetheart, but Clyde was quite a handful. He used to chase us around. And always expecting him to chase us around. So, you know, we'd be out there and we'd tell all my guests, okay, just be careful, get ready, you know, hold on tight. If we see him, he's going to come, you know, he's going to charge. If we find him, he's going to be feisty.
Thinking back, after looking at all of this, I've got to remember what happened on the day that it hit that we lost our rhinos, Bonnie and Clyde at Scotia. You see the animals you're working with slaughtered in front of you, and you come and you see the carcass there. It really grips you, it really hits your heart.
I came down the road to one of my sort of worst sightings I've ever seen, seeing a rhino lying on her back full of blood, and straight up I knew exactly what had happened. You know, she was lying there, and obviously, you know, I could see she had, you know, passed away.
So it looks like Clyde was shot over that way somewhere and then ran across the road, yeah. You can see blood there in the road and blood all over here. And his tracks where he stumbled over the road and then eventually died over there.
In South Africa, home to the world's largest remaining white rhino population, a daily battle against poaching is being fought. Driving this demand for rhino horn are traditional beliefs in its medicinal and therapeutic properties, as well as status symbol value across Asia. While no scientific evidence supports these claims, demand persists.
Within the first couple of minutes, there was a vehicle up in the air trying to find the poachers. All the rangers and guards were frantic because they were possibly still there. Unfortunately, that was not the case.
Looking back over this whole situation, I mean, I had to rush out and see these animals dead and, you know, running around until late. And I mean, only to find out that they did this in the day, brazen. It was terrible. It was really, really bad.
Okay, as far as we understand, there was a gang that was actually they were caught a few months back, called the Ndlovu gang, and as far as I know, they're based from Zimbabwe. But there was a whole about 7 or 8 of the guys, and they were a gang that literally their life was rhino poaching. And what happened was they were in a jail in Grahamstown, and they managed to escape. And literally within the time that they escaped, within a week, there were about 7 or 8 rhino poached within that period. So we knew straight up, and it was their modus operandi.
Poaching gangs target towns like Paterson, where Scotia and 8 other private game reserves are found. In fact, Paterson is surrounded by some of the most luxurious private game reserves in the Eastern Cape. But beneath its allure for affluent visitors, the town struggles with an 85% unemployment rate and deep socioeconomic disparities.
You look at an animal like Bonnie and Clyde and you see them laying there, and then you think to yourself, why do people poach?
Okay, if you think about the poacher himself, he is a person that has got nothing left. He wants to survive, he wants to care for his family, take care of them. He does not have an employment. Unfortunately, most people here are struggling to find employment in Southern Africa, so they turn to crime. Someone contacts them, says, "I've got a job for you, would you like to take it?" When they have finished the poaching incident without being caught, without leaving anything behind, they are paid not even a percentage of what the rhino horn's worth on the black market.
I would say more around the South African word we call as shebeens, which is bars in the communities. They will now, the people that work in the game reserves will get drunk and naturally start talking about the environment. They will then also go and maybe pay somebody and pull somebody aside and say, listen, we'll give you this much money if you will just turn a blind eye.
In the fight against rhino poaching, a spectrum of strategies are being applied and proposed. Dehorning is the most prominent method in use, where the rhino horn is physically removed. This is a direct approach that deters poachers. Then, there is a controversial, market-driven tactic still under debate: releasing stockpiled horns into the market, challenging the illicit trade by allowing private owners and the government to sell the horns themselves. Yet some advocate for burning the horns, a defiant act signaling that the real value is in the living rhino, not just the horn. But what if the horn's allure could be diminished? Poisoning the horns turns them into a hazard, reducing their medicinal appeal. And in the world of tech, 3D printing and horsehair fakes are gaining traction, creating near-perfect imitations to dilute the market. Amidst these tactics, the front lines remain defended with increased security. Militarized anti-poaching units stand guard, transforming the boundaries of reserves and national parks into strongholds against intrusion. Yet, the most lasting solution might lie outside the reserves by investing in the local economy. With a shift towards conservation as a shared prosperity and greater income opportunities for those struggling to find work, poaching may become less of an economic necessity. Whatever solutions are applied, education must not be forgotten. Through global campaigns and local initiatives, instilling awareness and respect for these creatures must be prioritized. Educating the next generation will keep the rhino from extinction. In the wake of Bonnie and Clyde's tragic poaching, 2 new rhinos take their place at Scotia. Their future, though hopeful in this reserve, is not guaranteed. To truly ensure their survival, a combination of solutions and their long-term impacts must be considered. Yet, when we think about what is best to do next, we are left with more questions. What future awaits them? Are the animals, or profit, at the center of these solutions? And how do we ensure their survival without risking their quality of life? The complexity of the situation calls for not just reactive measures, but proactive global collaborations. The legacy of Bonnie and Clyde serves as a tragic reminder, urging us to contemplate how we might protect the future of rhinos stepping into their shadow.